Welcome into the Eric St. Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. This is the warm-up period where my voice is still a problem, and it's going to take, it's like an old car. You start it up, and then it's like, That's the way I am right now. That's why I sound the way I do. I don't feel all that great, but it could be worse. The worst was on Wednesday. That was, oh my God, it just felt so out of sorts. I was just messed up. I was extremely, extremely messy. But yeah, we're good. Okay. As David Hasselhoff once said, this show happens in the Impact Power Sports studio. Thank you so much. If you ever want to say hello and reach out to me, you can drop me a line on the Shoreliner Striping inbox, Eric at ericzaneshow.com. See, Stacy is here. Welcome to you. Amy is here. Stevie, Tyler the Joke Man, Rebecca. There's a Rebecca and then there's a Becky. I know Rebecca. I think I know Becky. All right. Should be a decent weekend. I'm to a point now on the weekends where I'm so involved in the sports broadcasting, the PA work, close to home here. We've got a hockey game tonight. By the way, today is first day of Women's History Month. So all of you historic women, this is for you. Tomorrow, okay, hockey Friday. Saturday, I've got 2 damn hockey games. The first one is the one that everybody wants to see. The fire department taking on the police department in hockey. Last year, this was a slaughter. I think the cops beat the shit out of the fire guys, firewomen, firemen. I don't know. There were ladies playing in the game. A couple of people dropped the gloves. They've had it with each other. That game goes on again tomorrow at about 12:30. And then after that, I go home for a little bit and then back to the rink for another damn game, the Griffins. And then Sunday, it's gold basketball. Oh, my God. Sunday is also a big fraud Sunday with EZ and Ben Glaze, who is with us now. We are excited to get after a big fraud Sunday, starting with Who Are These Zanes? I think Ben has enough material. I know I do. And then that starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time. That live stream will kick off then. And then that'll go for about 45 minutes or so. And then right after that, we will start the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. Another great adventure that will be. You can take part in that for free. All you have to do is sign up on Patreon for 7 days free. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. I don't know what's getting in, what's in the water here, but I've started to. I'm sure this is temporary. Attempt to repair things that are busted around this house, and there's a lot. When the legendary engineer extraordinaire, he's got a doctorate's degree in being a radio engineer, Dave Grant, came to the studio to get the lay of the land about getting my radio show up and running, which debuts March 18th. He came to the door. He texts me. He says, I'm at the door. Dave's like really kind of subdued. I'm at the door. I go walking over there, and he's looking at where the doorbell is. But there's no doorbell there. There's like 2 wires. And he goes, that's good. And I can tell I'm getting judged. Like, yeah, I know. He gets in here, checks things out. He's sitting where I am right now. And at some point, he turns around and looks behind me at the door. And he goes, Did you have to kick your door in? Because it's all fucked up. I go, yeah, yep. He goes, Were you drunk? I go, No, I don't drink, Dave. Are you kidding me? I haven't drank since 1996. Oh. What happened? I go, I don't know. The damn thing locked. Dogs were in here. It was a minute before the show started. And I had to get in here, so whammo. So he thinks I'm a loser. So yesterday, went ahead, got the replacement doorbell, like the button you push, and it turns out that the actual doorbell in the house was no good. So I replaced it. Now, it still looks pretty, because he said to me, I sent him a picture of the button. I go, Hey, I did it. And he says, Yeah, that was looking pretty ghetto. But I don't know how much. All right, if you go in the house, when I took the old actual doorbell off, the one that's in the house, you push the button and it goes ding dong. Well, the room had been painted, and so what was underneath the doorbell hadn't. So then you put the new doorbell on, and it's not the same shape. So there's still like two colors of paint visible now. What the rest of the room is and whatever the hell was underneath the doorbell. Primer, I don't know. Cole says, Did you show him the hot tub? I'm going to make sure that I don't point out the doorbell to him, because he'll be like, Look, even though you replaced it, it's still ghetto. All right. Then there's, I had to do some work on the alarm. We got this alarm system here, and the alarm has been telling me that it doesn't tell you anything. What it does is it wakes you up in the middle of the night. And that's awful. Okay. And I don't know why it malfunctions in the middle of the night, because it's all fucked up. And so then it should just say low batteries, but it doesn't do that. It just says nothing. I'm just going to wake you up. So I call the alarm company. Actually, I did it. You can't call, excuse me. You can't call. You have to go and chat. Now, you're chatting with the robot, and then you have to click that you want to talk to a live agent. So finally, when someone is typing directions to you, I start out with, Hey, alarm is malfunctioning. Can you send an agent or a person to come? They go, Well, before we do that, we want to try to see if you can troubleshoot it. This is how they do it. They're giving you the power. And I'm like, God damn it. I don't want to do this shit. Okay, you hit *2 and then you scroll through. So amazingly, I'm looking at the phone and they're talking with me. They go, All right, hit this button and then this button. What do you see? And I explain it. He goes, Okay, that's good. Hit this button and this button. What do you see? Okay, this. All right, great. He goes, The batteries need to be replaced on the pad. And I'm like, Okay, cool. But why couldn't it have just said that? Instead of waking me up in the middle of the goddamn night. Okay? Then I can't get the fucking thing off. I send a picture to my brother-in-law, Charity Scam Mike. I go, How do I get this fucking thing out? Because this is his line of work, installing alarms. He tells me, I go, All right, great. Get after it. I'm able to get the goddamn pad off. And, okay, I thought at the worst I'd have a couple of these lithium batteries, the ones that I think you're not supposed to throw those in the garbage. Lithium batteries, like the old ones, like they explode. I threw it in the garbage. But not only are they lithium batteries, but it's like 6 lithium batteries in a pack. They're like wrapped in a plastic pack. It looks like the type of shit you wrap a boat in when it's winter. With like a wire coming out of it. It's like a huge cell. You could drive a car with that fucking thing. All right. I get the needle nose pliers, pull that thing out. I've got it. I've broken nothing. So this is a win. I'm like, this is great. Go on Amazon, get the exact same thing, order it. I wish this story had some type of catastrophic ending, but it doesn't. My point in all this is that I was doing shit, and I don't know where the time came from, frankly. Stand by. I am still a absolute mess right now, by the way. Also, I bought the parts to repair the door. Now, this is where I am way out of my element. This requires like getting my jigsaw and cutting the fucking door jamb because the door jamb's all busted out. It's either repair it like the way I'm going to or buy a new door and then have someone install it for me. And I'm like, fuck this shit. I am going to do this. I am going to get this done. So that's part of the goal. Megan says, what the F is this anniversary thing? She's new to some of the accolades you get on Twitch. It says you've subscribed to this show for 24 months, and you're on a 4-month streak. That's good. Welcome. Kenny, like a child, announces, hey, it's first day of my birthday month. What? Ben wrote, okay, good for you. LOL. That's a polite way of saying, who gives a shit? Birthday month, Kenny? I mean, come on. You're like a 65-year-old guy. Pooh Bear's birthday month, too. If you must. I think chicks can pull off birthday month. I don't know if dudes can pull off birthday month. Unless it's me. Pooh Bear's birthday is coming up fast, and I know what I'm getting her. It is influenced by one of our sweetest members in this chat, Sarah Rookrock-Roosh. Sarah Rookrock-Roosh has a device where you set it up in the yard, okay? And the birds come and they land and they enjoy the food. And then there's a camera there that takes pictures of the bird. And then it sends it like right to your phone. And then it like identifies the bird. And look, when you get old, that's a big deal. I like that shit. So this is going to be awesome. Okay? Occasionally, we'll get like a hawk show up or a falcon, not even kidding, in the same area where the bird feeder we have now is. Now, those birds kill the little ones and slaughter like all the goddamn chipmunks and the squirrels and the mice. But I am absolutely stoked about this this device where it'll shoot the goddamn video or the picture of the bird. That is so sweet. I love that stuff. So welcome to you. Thank you for being here to the Eric Zane Show podcast. All of that happening in the last 24 hours. And still kind of feeling like shit. I tell you, I wake up and I'm like, okay, God, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm actually going to call in sick again. I'm just like, shut up, drink your coffee. You'll be fine. Stand by. Oh, a lot of that going on. Whatever this crud is that I have is just kind of moving through, and I don't care for it. All right. Close to home. John Gibbs is the guy in our beautiful Ottawa County. It's just remarkable how the attitude has changed. And all right, without going too far down the rabbit hole where I live, the folks in Ottawa County bring in this guy, John Gibbs, to help run the show. It's a hired position called the county administrator. They give him like north of $200,000 to do the job. Everybody's on the same page. They're all these freedom-fighting patriots, anti-COVID, anti-COVID vaccine, anti-mask, all this shit. Somewhere down the road, Gibbs fell out of favor. Excuse me. Rebecca says, drink hot tea with honey. Oh, believe me, I have been. They fired that guy yesterday, and now they're going to get sued. Audio check, video check.
By the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners. In their first meeting since reaching an agreement with the health officer, Adeline Hambley, the board has now voted to fire Administrator John Gibbs. It comes after Gibbs was put on leave last week when complaints about his behavior became known. News 8's Taylor Morris is live for us in Ottawa County tonight.
Now, to be clear, Gibbs suspected he was going to get fired for something, so he sent off a warning letter from his lawyer saying, yeah, you better not fire this guy or he's going to sue you. And then shortly thereafter, these jokers put together a list of things that he had done that they claim that are all conduct issues that can result in firing. He denies all that shit. Now he's fired.
With the very latest. Taylor?
Brian, the board decided to terminate Gibbs's contract in a 10-1 vote tonight. After the meeting, I had a chance to ask Commissioner Doug Zylstra, who voted not to terminate Gibbs, why that was his decision. He told me he believes the board needs to do more work.
God, that Rebecca Curran is so goddamn attractive.
To make sure they've done due process.
I love her hair. Holy shit, look at her. Too bad she's a wacko.
But prior to that vote, an additional meeting regarding Adeline Hambley took place and lasted about 10 minutes. Chairman Joe Moss acknowledged the resolution between the board and Hambley, solidifying that she will remain as Ottawa County's top health officer.
By the way, I watched a lot of that meeting yesterday, the public comment. God damn. There are some of those idiots that live in the community that just get up there and they just ramble on. This Harvey Nichols piece of shit. And this other fat fuck, bull haircut, suspender wearing fat fuck asshole. I think I called him fat fuck 3 times there. Oh, God, do those two drive me crazy.
In the meeting to fire Gibbs, Joe Moss motioned to terminate Gibbs for cause. Commissioner Allison...
Someone said that John Gibbs looks like the Stern character Beetlejuice.
Dima seconded that motion. It was also made clear by Moss that Gibbs was invited to tonight's meeting. However, he did not show up. The board also discussed the possibility of mediation, but ended up firing Gibbs. Now, when it comes to the complaints made against Gibbs last Friday, Moss disclosed a letter outlining a number of complaints against the county administrator. The letter states Gibbs made threats against County Attorney Jack Jordan, as well as derogatory comments with both sexual and religious connotations toward Commissioner Gretchen Cosby. It also states he created a hostile workplace environment for his employees. And on Tuesday, Gibbs's attorney sent us a response to the allegations, roundly rejecting them.
I move to terminate Mr. Gibbs' contract for cause. Because the board has determined that Mr. Gibbs, in connection with the performance of his duties under the employment agreement, has been dishonest, committed gross misconduct, and/or committed willful malfeasance.
Another thing that Moss made clear tonight during the meeting was that Gibbs's job will be posted immediately. Live in Olive Township, Taylor Morris, News 8.
Okay, so since they took over, first they tried to fire Hambley. Then they offered her $4 million to leave, which they didn't have to pay. Then they ended up coming to an agreement to keep her on. They voted unanimously on that. They brought Gibbs in. Now they fire Gibbs. And what I want to know is, are they now going to get sued? To bring up all things Ottawa County, whenever you talk about all things Ottawa County, you have to bring in Joe Spaulding.
Eric Zane.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I am doing terrific. I'm feeling pretty good. What's going on?
So these wackos are like eating their own, it seems like.
I mean, yeah, that's one of the ways that you can put it. Circular firing squad. They're having a total nuclear meltdown. It's worse than Chernobyl is another way to put it.
Do you think that they've opened up a lawsuit by firing Gibbs?
I think the way that they did it definitely raises some serious questions. And I think, as usual, if you look at what Doug Zylstra is saying, it's usually pretty quiet and reserved, but it's usually pretty correct. And what Gibbs' attorney is accusing is that Joe Moss didn't have any of these reasons to fire him until he collected them after he decided he was going to fire him. And that's kind of even more confirmed by the fact that they're just kind of airing that all out in the open. And I don't know what the specifics of the law are, but I think that as much as I don't like the guy, John Gibbs is entitled to due process. And that kind of went out the window. And it's very weird. Yeah, it's very weird seeing Joe Moss just decide that, oh, this happened in closed session, but I'm going to be all public about it. But their lawyer is just putting an iron, lock on whatever happened in the closed session when they were discussing the $4 million that they wanted to pay Adeline Hambley to quit.
My God. Did you do a live stream last night?
So last night I streamed the meetings. They turned the comments off on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think that deprives a lot of people of their ability and like something that they've grown accustomed to. And I think that the way the Open Meetings Act and the way the First Amendment are written, that like when we have this ability, this avenue to speak publicly and the government decides to turn it off or take it away, that's an impediment of our First Amendment rights. That's how I feel about it. But, second to that, if they're not going to allow comments, I can stream that content no problem and let people comment underneath there.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah. So can they get in trouble for not allowing those comments? Is that a violation or is it like kind of a gray area?
I'm positive that nothing like that has been tested in court. The streaming of these local meetings is something that very few places did. I know Ann Arbor did it for a while, but until COVID. And then they did it out of necessity. And some communities continue to do it and some don't. But, if they did decide to stop streaming altogether, I just make sure I sat in there with a camera and live streamed it. It's not, it takes more time for me, but there's no limit to the amount I'm willing to dedicate to making sure we remove these people from office. And that requires us seeing what they're doing.
In your time, since you started, you became known as this has all percolated for the past 15 months or whatever. Have you noticed anybody like almost like a private detective keeping an eye on you? Or has there ever been anything suspicious that's gone on in your life?
I don't know if I've been tailed or anything.
Yeah.
I know one time I was blasting George Michael out of my mom's Volkswagen Beetle that I was borrowing to go to a Jenison school board meeting to annoy the former chair of the GOP who was standing in the parking lot in a circle because his buddy flipped me the bird when I was walking out of the meeting. And I got home. It was fine. A couple of days later, the sheriff was knocking on my door while I was playing Call of Duty. And so I finished the match of Call of Duty, not the sheriff, but the deputy or whoever.
Yeah.
And he was about to take off. And he insisted that I, call down to the sheriff's department. I guess that John DeBlay guy had called the sheriff and said that I was, threatening him from my car with my George Michael music very loudly. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm not really inclined to go talk to you guys about that. That's
right.
pretty dumb and stupid. So I'm not. And then, he and I like walked past each other at the next meeting. There's no problem between us. And then, what happened was I mentioned it at a board meeting, and I said, we could open up alternative theories to why these charges, those accusations were being made, and that might mean that there's discovery involved with all the board members, and they shut the shit down.
Right.
So that was like actually the first indication that I got that they don't want you seeing their emails from around the time they took office at all. And that kind of was further cemented in the Hambly hearing. So, like, I don't know what they're hiding. And they've got all sorts of nefarious crap that they've done out in the open. But there's got to be worse stuff that they have that's still private.
With this deal with Gibbs, now there's potential that more money could be flying out the window on a potential lawsuit. And that comes out of taxpayers' pockets, correct?
Yeah. If we lose the lawsuit, the county loses the lawsuit, which, I don't have any reason to believe that Gibbs was wrong about Coleman Legal Group being really, really bad at their jobs. That's more money. That's a lot. And it's probably a lot more money because, stakes are pretty high there. And I think that like when Gibbs' lawyer comes in talking about, he'll retire if you give him 640 or you give him 400,000. Like, I think part of that was like, we're going to see what Joe Moss does because I think he's going to overreact and then you're going to have a case. And that's going to be the baseline then. So like, yeah, I'm guessing like 4X that 6, I think like $2 million is probably on the line, as crazy as that sounds.
There was also the news that the judge did in fact say that $4 million would have flown out the window to Adeline Hambly because of the conversations and the proof that was acknowledged from the earlier discussions. But I forgot how they worded it, why that wouldn't be awarded. Do you remember how they worded that?
Yeah, so what happened was, like, Joe Moss, they all came out of that really long closed session, and they voted to continue council's recommendation of pursuing a settlement. And there's almost no doubt, like no sane doubt, that they decided that they were going to pay her $4 million to resign. But that resolution that they made was so ambiguously worded because their mentality at the time was they didn't want a bigger media fiasco than it already was. And they thought that the way to do that was to be like really quick and really coy and make that motion, say continue that resolution, and then go on from there and make everybody wonder what that resolution is. But we know it was $4 million. Right. It's just the judge said that wasn't a specific enough motion after that closed session to bind that resolution.
I mean, like if it had been in writing, it might she may have had an easier time getting that money because Hambly was like, all right, if you want to give me $4 million, give me $4 million.
So like in those negotiations, they do things, verbally, because that's how you do things quickly. And then the lawyers put it out in writing, but like those details were already set.
Right.
Yeah. So like, yeah, if it was in writing, like they were in the process of putting it in writing when the county realized that they couldn't do what they promised they could do.
I have a friend who knows Moss personally. I think they go to the same church, and he's, he's right wing, but him and I get along. Even though he's a ding dong. And he even said, yeah, we're sick of him. Enough is enough. And I think that he is representative. He is the representative of the person that you want to vote them out. The ones that rushed to their support during the COVID shit. Nobody cares anymore. They just want people that are a little bit more closer to the pack, who they just want normal Republicans. That's all they want now.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely want folks that are responsible with tax dollars. And I mean, I got two things on that, and I think that a lot of the crazier side of the Donald Trump stories, I think a lot of the incompetence stuff mirrors a lot of what we see in Ottawa County, and that makes sense because John Gibbs, worked for Trump. And if you look at the primary vote, Donald Trump did worse in Ottawa County than he did statewide. And that's just like completely upside down for what a Republican, normally does. And people are looking for a way out of that, like unabashed belligerent. It's not conservatism, but it's right wing politics. And then so I think that's right. And the other thing that kind of reminds me of, when you talk about knowing someone that goes to a church, when we were running the petition to recall Lucy Evil, we were sitting out in the parking lot in front of actually the exercise place where Lucy Evil coaches class like twice a week. Which,
that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very athletic.
Sure, whatever. But like some guy stopped by in a lifted truck, and he came out and he's like, well, I can't sign your petition, but I got to tell you that I went to high school with Joe Moss. And that guy was just like the creepiest kind of weird, like the entire time back then. And I'm like, well, that's like really good information. But like, it's like that. And, that tells me that like, maybe like that person isn't going to like show up and vote for like a Democrat in Allendale or whatever. But like, they're not going to vote for an Ottawa Impact Republican again. They see the damage that they've done. And between that and the numbers on Trump, I'm like, there's definitely a feeling here that like there needs to be a readjustment, at least within the Republican Party. And I think, greater politics countywide. But
do you think that Trump is going to win the general election?
I don't know because I haven't done any electoral math on it. And I can tell you that that does worry me. I think that would be bad for the stability in our country. I think that we already juiced all the jokes that we can get out of him from the first time that he ran for office. So for comedy, it's like marginal increase for no net benefit. But I haven't done the electoral math. I think that I'm pretty sure Trump loses in Michigan based on the numbers in the primary. There's no enthusiasm.
Wow, I didn't. Nobody's covered that the primary. It was just basically that was kind of not talked about how he actually did. I don't know. There's a lot that could be going on here because Trump has been so dominant that a lot of people may not have come out to vote.
Well, Michigan is the state where the press is able to speak about the Israel-Palestine situation as an electoral issue. So that's what covers the news cycle when we have a primary here, and Biden's on the ballot. And that's what was in the news cycle. And what did we see? We saw the movement for that undeclared get like 13% statewide. So it's not like it was super significant event, but like when I'm looking at the numbers and I'm seeing like Joe Biden get more votes than Donald Trump, not just in Wayne County, but like Oakland County, Oakland County, Kalamazoo County, Ingham County, like that, like the top 15 counties by population of the state, Joe Biden got more votes than Donald Trump if you add all the numbers up.
Okay. Anything else that we need to touch on? I think I do want to mention that in last week's meeting, I saw you were in front of the board and you called them assholes. Is that a first? Have you called them assholes to their face before?
I don't think I've used assholes. Like that one is kind of like I try to use that when I feel like they might feel like they own that a little bit, and that was like right after I told them I told you so, and right after I said that the GOP is like essentially kicking them and Karamo out, and that's kind of racist and sexist, probably, but they can't say that because they think that racism and sexism are like unicorns. They don't exist.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. And finally, there's two guys that are regulars at those meetings. Who's the giant with the bull haircut and the suspenders? And he's the old guy. He leans on the podium.
Driveway Dave.
That's the guy.
Dave?
Yes, that's the guy. He always speaks twice, that fucker. He's always going way deep on the religion and talking about his sins and shit like that. He was up to the same old goddamn thing yesterday.
Yeah, Driveway Dave is a very interesting character. Like every other one of his speeches are just like so generic that they could apply to any council meeting anywhere in the country.
Yes.
And then like he originally got on board, he thought that this board was his ticket to getting a driveway easement, which is why we call him Driveway Dave.
Okay.
Because the last board wouldn't help him with his driveway easement. He got really mad. He used to be Allendale Township trustee.
God damn. He reminds me of the guy who tells you beef, it's what's for dinner or whatever. He's just kind of like this aw shucks, ho-hum type of guy. And then there's Harvey Nickel.
Harvey Nickel.
Oh, God damn. He's still talking about pandemic shit.
And that's like, and I kind of want to, like, I don't want to interrupt someone when they're being a complete fool, but like, he is a constant reminder that like that mentality, everything that they have to offer is, as good as sticking us all back in 2020. It is a new lockdown in a weird way.
Wow.
And that's what they want. They want to be in this bubble of grievance and vengeance politics where they can just be mad at a generic enemy. It's really weird.
Yep. My God. All right. I got a comment from one of my audience members who loves Trump. She writes, just because he's an asshole doesn't mean he was not a good president. He did good things. Do you agree that Donald Trump did good things, Joe Spaulding?
I mean, like, I struggle to remember any specific ones, and what they just said, say that about, like, you could hear anyone say that about Barack Obama to your Trump supporting friend, right? Like, you can think he's an asshole, but I think he did some good things. But like with Donald Trump, I know for a fact that he botched the COVID response. I have family members that died from that. Just recently, we have this college student that the right wingers were just screaming about getting murdered by a Venezuelan, immigrant, and he's, undocumented immigrant, came across the border illegally. The thing is, on his way out the door, Donald Trump said that Venezuelans aren't getting deported from our country anymore, and that got broadcasted across Venezuela. And so all the Venezuelans thought they had an open invitation to come here. And, that girl's death is on Donald Trump's hands. So, like, even on the issues that the right-wingers and that Donald Trump fans care about, like, they refuse to hold him accountable for the damage that he's done there.
Well, I think,
so,
and the big hitters trying to steal the election, all the lies, all that bullshit, all of the January 6th stuff that he caused, he did. I mean, literally blood on his hands.
Well, Eric Zay, let me say, there was one good thing I can remember he did now that I'm thinking about it. Donald Trump banned bump stocks. And that was after the worst massacre in the history of the United States in Las Vegas, where a guy, he was raining down 1,000 rounds a minute. It was just coming down. So that was good when he banned bump stocks.
Cole writes, the fuck it is anything Biden's fault. Do you think that there's anything Joe Biden's done that's glaring? I would say yes, there's plenty, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that he's being slightly too cautious on pushing back on Netanyahu publicly on Israel-Palestine. Like, that's super not great. I think that the Biden administration made a calculated choice not to pursue prosecuting Donald Trump for crimes they knew he did off the bat for like a year and a half or 2 years. Those were critical mistakes for our country that Joe Biden should own and answer for.
Cole, he writes, banning bump stocks did nothing. And I don't think there's any way to quantify that it did nothing. I mean, you have that is a way to make a weapon that is not automatic, extremely automatic. So, I mean, unless there's some way of getting in the head of a mass shooter who said, yeah, this has been a lot worse if I had a bump stock, there's really no way to tell. So. Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't want to have the data to find that out. Like, I just want the mass shootings to stop.
Right.
And so from my perspective, like, I'm going to be grateful that Donald Trump did that. And our guy online there can, be upset about it. That's fine.
Ryan writes, I mean, pretty sure that Trump was good with the mob lynching his vice president. Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
God,
I told Mike Pence he sucks balls, but I, didn't want to put him on a gallows.
No, you didn't want to murder the guy. Joe Spaulding, it's always wonderful talking politics, both local and national, with you. You're easy to talk to and quite fun. What are you doing today? You doing anything fun? I mean, do you ever have time to relax?
Yeah, the woman I'm seeing, she's got a kid who's turning 11. When we throwing a little birthday celebration, she likes to kick my ass in Tekken. So
Tekken, that's the old school video game.
Yeah, they got the new one out. It's Tekken 8. It's a lot faster, and I'm a lot slower. So it's like I'm starting to, feel the wrath of the L's there. They stack up.
Hey, someone suggested that I get Trump on the phone. Do you want to talk to Trump?
Do I want to talk to Trump? I'm not really. I have no really desire to do that.
Have you ever heard my Trump?
I haven't heard your Trump.
If I got Trump on, would you talk to him?
Yeah.
Okay, stand
probably.
by. Stand by. Stand by. I'm going to get Trump on right now. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to call him, and then you can ask him whatever you want. You're going to love this if you haven't already heard it. Okay, you just be quiet. I should say it's going to go quiet for a second. I'll bring him in here.
Good morning, Big Fraud. This is your favorite president.
Yes. Hello, Mr. President. How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. What do I owe the pleasure of this call this morning?
I have a great friend of mine who has. I just said, hey, it's time to talk to Trump. So I'd like to introduce you to Joe Spaulding, Mr. President.
Oh, is this one of my wonderful supporters, Joe Spaulding? Is that who this is?
Joe?
I'm just a voter in Michigan, Mr. Trump there.
Yeah.
Oh, this is tremendous. You're one of our great patriots, aren't you, Joe?
The absolute greatest.
Mr. President, we were just talking about your old pal, John Gibbs. Just got fired.
John Gibbs, yes. I heard this. It's terrible what they've done to him. I think he was really going to do great things for that little county over there. Terrible, actually, what they've done to him. But, he's not that great of a guy. I found out that he's not that great of a guy, this John Gibbs. Not that great.
Really? How come? I don't understand.
Well, you see, he's quite large, I think. I think he's quite fat. I think he's very large. And he wanted a lot of money or something. I don't know. They're telling me he's not that great of a guy. He might have not done good things. I don't know.
Joe?
Are we going to make the Joe P skinny again?
I didn't understand a word what that shithead just said. I don't know what he said. What did he say? What did he say? Would he say something about something?
I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry, Joe. Say that again, please.
I said, are we going to make the Republican Party skinny again, Mr. Trump?
Well, I think we could do a lot to the rhinos that are sitting in the Republican Party. I mean, they're so unloyal, actually, if you think about it, Joe. A lot of these rhinos, they're terrible. They're terrible for the Republican Party. They need to go away. They need to go away so fast. It was great that Senator McConnell finally said that he's out. I think he said he's out. He's out, totally out, which is a good thing. I think they need to get him the hell out of there. He's malfunctioning half the time. He's like a little robot or something. We don't know.
Would you say that most of the rhinos in the Republican Party right now are white rhinos or black rhinos?
Well, I think they can be anything. I don't know. I think it doesn't really matter because they're clearly very rhinos. They're rhinos and they're not that great. I think if you think about it, the Constitution could use a lot of adjustments. I think we could probably suspend it entirely. If you think about it,
suspend the Constitution sounds like you're like becoming a dictator, sir.
You've said this before, Big Frog, but what I think we have to do, I think we have to suspend the Constitution, totally suspend it, and maybe come up with a new one. I mean, it was written so long ago. I think it's not that it's not applicable to certain scenarios anymore. Like I should be totally immune to anything because I'm a presidential candidate.
Joe?
I don't think you're that far off. I think we should suspend the Constitution above a ladder in Madison Square Garden. Have you and Joe Biden go at it?
Kind of like
Joe Biden. Yeah. It would be hilarious, by the way, because we all know he couldn't even get over into the ring. He probably would fall apart. I mean, have you seen this guy try to get up into the aeroplane? He's tripping. He's falling all over the place. He can't keep his eyes open. I don't even know if he has eyeballs. Let's be so honest.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. It's terrible what they've done to this poor little innocent old man.
Yes. Well, I must say, even though you two are pretty close in age, he seems like he's like 5 decades older than you. I have to admit.
Clearly. I mean, I'm probably if you think about it, I'm the epicenter of fitness and health. If you think about it, I mean, there's nobody. I mean, I'm probably decades in terms of my health more healthier than him. I think my doctors say So much healthier, so much healthier. I'm so smart and intelligent as well. You wouldn't believe how intelligent I am.
Is that the same doctor that you had back when you were in the Oval Office there with the interesting haircut?
Oh yes, he's great. He's great. He's one of our great military members. He's a great doctor. Listen, the thing is, you have to remember the economy under me was booming. Inflation under Joe Biden and these crooked Democrats is terrible. I mean, in Russia, Joe Spaulding, over in Russia, they got groceries. You could afford groceries much better over in Russia. And inflation here in the United States is terrible what they've done. I mean, you're probably a fat guy if you're living in Ottawa County, so you probably go to the grocery store, and you're probably spending, what, $200-$300 now? It used to be maybe $50 to $100. I mean, it's terrible what Joe Biden has done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible what Joe Biden has done.
Sir,
And we can fix the economy so quickly, Joe. We need people like you to help vote for Donald Trump, and we can fix the economy. I'm America's favorite president, I think. Maybe more popular than Abraham Lincoln.
I don't think that Joe Spaulding is going to support you, sir.
I think he would support a winner. He would probably support a winner because we know Joe Biden is a total loser. I could convert any one of your stupid fans into Trump supporters if you think about it.
It's tough because, we're both like Easy and I are huge lifelong Lions fans. So like the whole winner loser thing, it lost its impact a decade and a half ago.
Sir,
I don't know what the hell you're talking about because the Lions are clearly losers. They lost so big this year. They're probably the biggest losers, actually, if you think about it. Total losers. Not that great. Not that great of an organization.
Sir, I appreciate it. I got to let you go. Sir? Oh, I think he hung up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He just hangs up.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's it's always good to have the president like on speed dial,
Yeah, he's like Batman. He just kind of disappears without you noticing.
But he does it all. He just hangs up. But usually he calls me a nasty name.
Oh.
All right, Joe, I appreciate you as always. Give my best to the people in your life that are close to you, even though I don't know them. And till the next day, till the next episode.
Oh, yeah. Call anytime, Easy. It's been great.
All right, buddy.
So much.
Yep, see it. There you go. Joe Spaulding. Kenny says this is the first good three-way call. We've had three-way calls before is all. I think this is Trump's first, however. All right. Amanda getting all sorts of heat about her Trump was a great president thing. I don't even have to say anything. Everybody's beating the shit out of her. And then she drops hey, trust me, there are presidents that were way worse than Trump. Yeah, I don't know about any who tried to overturn the election. That's weird. Let's start there. Give me one president who tried to overturn the election. You idiot, dumbass, fucking supersized twat. What the fuck is wrong with you? God damn. All sorts of attacks. Tyler says, careful, big fraud, Zane. Your voice is not in shape to do Amanda impression. I like how people like Amanda just say, oh, yeah, he was great. Hey, facts don't care about your feelings. What facts? There are no facts. All you said was, oh, yeah, trust me, there were worse. What the fuck? What an idiot. Well, that might be the dumbest thing you've said. We all know that Amanda loves the president that wants to kill all gay people. That's horrible. Megan says, from my perspective, my family, friends, we all had extra money because the government was giving us free money. We were all of a sudden getting breakfast, lunches from school for the kids. Our gas consumption plummeted because of the WFH situations. I don't know what that means. We didn't need to purchase clothes for work. Kids' sports stopped, so that saved money. I'm just saying the amount of extra money we had contributed to the booming economy, not fighting. Just showing a middle-class perspective. Amanda says, I also love Ben Shapiro because he's smarter than all of us. Yeah, I have never heard Ben Shapiro, but I don't dare listen to anybody like that. I try to avoid people that influence huge swaths of one side or the other. I don't do that. I don't pay attention to those people. You know why? Because I'm susceptible. I know my limits. I'm susceptible to that type of influence. So if I listen to somebody who seems to have an easy job saying the same talking points and everybody else has and makes a convincing argument based on the fluidity of their language and their speaking patterns and shit like that, I avoid that because I'm susceptible to that. And I might actually start to think like whomever. And I don't want to think like anybody. I want to think like me. Now, you, who's an idiot, that sounds like something that you were influenced by. And now everything he says, you just regurgitate to the other morons who would listen to you. Okay? So I don't, to me, when I see anybody, like if any of you were to walk around saying, yeah, man, I listen to that Eric Zane and I believe him because I'd cringe. I'd be like, yeah, you got to stop that shit. Okay. It's entertainment. Don't ever think anything more of it than that. And that's what all of these other, don't think for a second that the Ben Shapiros of the world or the whoever's of the world are anything more than just entertainment. Hurricane Ashley says, you love Ben Shapiro and Matt Rife. LMAAAAAO. Ben writes, and both are hacks. WFH equals working from home. Hurricane Ashley, Ben Shapiro, who admits that out loud? Amanda says he spits facts. No, they go into your ears and into your brain, and it doesn't matter what they are. They're going to be facts to you. Okay? I'm guessing. I don't know. Maybe you're right. I've never actually listened and don't have any intention to. Ashley writes, Google Shapiro debunked. Patrick says, it's kind of like how Roman Reigns was influenced by The Rock and tried to steal Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania moment. Unbelievable. If you say so. CJINMI writes, people get programmed by constantly repeating the same talking points over and over and over. Ever listen to Hannity over and over and over? Yes, that's what I was getting at. And when you are around someone who has either just as a regular person heard the same things, they actually become quite articulate at repeating those things. And they sound like they know what they're talking about because they've heard it so many times. They got it down, you know? Which is why I don't do that. I don't pay attention to anybody. When I'm on with Christian Blatt, they say, hey, what do you think of Shane Gillis? I go, who the fuck is Shane Gillis? I don't know who these people are. I don't pay attention to any of them. I don't want any of their influence on me because I know how I am. I'm kind of like a mark. I know my limits. I could sit and watch that goddamn loose change video, which I think somehow spins some tale that airplanes did not fly into buildings or some shit, or how 9/11 was an inside job. If I watch that fucking shit, I'm going to finish it and then be like, oh my God, can you believe it? There was no airplanes. It was all a goddamn fiction. That's me. So I stay away from anything like that. I can't do it. So all I can do is attack people who I think are full of shit. And right now, that's Amanda. Amanda's going out on a limb to say, yeah, I listen to Ben Shapiro. He spits facts, and Trump was a great president. You know, I don't believe any of that. I believe Trump was a shitty president. Okay? Even if he did do great things, as you say. I think you look at his body of work, horrible things happened under his watch, and I can't stand by and let that, I can with a clear conscience support that. There was a time when I did, and I was like, wait a minute, but this is getting a little bit too off the rails here. Okay, hold on a second. Let me rethink this. Okay, fuck that guy. Cole says Ben Shapiro, the rapper. He says, you got to see the Ben Shapiro rap verse that he did with Cornball Tom McDonald. So damn cringe. I did see it. Amanda sent it to me, and she loved it. Okay? Nate writes, Trump was not a great president. He was the greatest president. Oh, my God. You are such a dipshit. Linda says, Amanda probably believes the election was stolen. Brian says, 55 viewers, EZ. Woot! Yeah, we've been slowly but surely inching our way forward. I think that's the who are these broadcasters bump. Maybe. I don't know. I want to play... Actually, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. I still haven't done even one sponsor on this show, and I have to call my pal Rick from TC Paintball. Before we get to that, though, for you folks that are watching the show on Facebook, X, and YouTube, have a great day. I'm going to send you on your way. If you want the full show, it's available on Twitch. Download the Twitch app and then search Eric Zane Live, or go to twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live on your desktop or laptop. Download the audio podcast wherever you download shows. Send me an email in the Shoreliner Striping inbox, eric@ericzaneshow.com. We've got Patreon going on this weekend, a Big Fraud Sunday. You can join us for free. Just go to patreon.com/Eric Zane. The big news on Patreon is the appearance and then disappearance of Bleeding Heart Braden, who was, he came in like a house of fire when he showed up in early January. Love the show. It's so funny. Finally glad to be done with Free Beer and Hot Wings. And then he fired me and quit the Patreon because I supported Israel. And he thinks that I support genocide. He's fucking crazy. And I'm like, oh, okay. You think I support genocide? Well, I got this for you. You hate Jews. Braden says all Jews must die. That's awful. Well, anyway, go fuck yourself. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. Back to the show. Amanda tries to say, maybe it's just all a ruse to get you guys going. Yeah, please. Come on. Ashley says Amanda's giant cans are restricting the blood flow to her brain. They're good tits. Look at them. Hey. All right. Thank you to Frank Fuss, My Policy Shop Insurance. When it comes to getting insurance in the marketplace, there's only one person to know. That is Frank. You can take advantage of this no matter where you are in the listening area, any state in the U.S. Just go to buyinsurancehere.com, mention me, and away you go. So, if you do not have health insurance, maybe you're in between jobs, your employer does not offer insurance, maybe you own your own business, getting insurance is just a click away. Go to buyinsurancehere.com, fill out the information form, and Frank will get in touch with you and get you into a policy like today. Not even kidding you. The services are free, doesn't cost you a dime. He gets paid by insurance companies. Go to buyinsurancehere.com. So much wisdom in our beloved Megan over at Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid and EV. Show mom, real mom, 616-532-6600, irvines.com, ervines.com. Get your car repaired at Irvine's. We get ours repaired there, and you should too. Smack dab in the middle of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Ask about their loaner car program so you don't have to worry about somebody driving you around the area while your car is being repaired. Joe Martinez, 616-516-8579 for A&E Heating and Cooling. We dipped below 50. Stay on. Stay on. Even if you have to go away from the phone, leave it on. I want to be averaging north of 50 for God's sake. Anyway, Joe is here. I see him there right now. 616-516-8579 for A&E Heating and Cooling. The month of February is done. That means no more DTE rebates for your furnace. Now we got to start scheduling to get those ACs tuned up. Reach out at 616-516-8579. Before I bring Rick in here, thank you to the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. 231-332-6505. When it comes to a mortgage, the trusted expert, let them roll out the red carpet for you at the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. Don't be shy, especially if you are a first-time borrower. 231-332-6505 for the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. All right. Boy, what a day. We opened up a can of worms. Amanda saying she's a MAGA bitch. Hey, I'm a MAGA. Hey. I had no idea. And now everybody's pissed at her.
Good morning, political talk, Eric Zane.
Rick, how are you? It's good to hear your voice, buddy.
I am just as good as ever, Eric.
Do you listen to any political commentators or watch them?
Zero.
Yeah, me too. I don't pay attention to any of that shit.
I'm a huge sports guy, and I get tired of the talking heads for sports stuff. I can't stand, over analyzing all the bullshit, especially in politics.
In sports talk, there used to be a thing where you could watch it and it was actually funny as well as informative.
Yeah. I mean, I think about that a little bit, like when you go back to those days of Sports Center with Keith Olbermann and what's his ass?
Dan Patrick.
Dan Patrick. There you go. Yeah, those days. I mean, it was kind of like groundbreaking and shit, and it was a lot of fun to watch. But it just seems like it's been done over and over and over again now.
Yeah, I don't think there's any really great personalities. I mean, when it comes to sports talk, I think Dan Le Batard is good. I like Dan Patrick's show. Those are fun and interesting. But it seems like it's almost been inundated with people,
Where's Patrick at now? I don't ever stumble across him anymore, and I never go looking for him.
Well, I know he's you can get him on the radio locally, and you can still watch his show. So I don't think anything's changed. I think he's still just as viable and probably even more popular now than he's ever been.
Well, I never listen to the radio anymore, so that's probably why I miss him. I'm never just looking around. When you get like XM radio or whatever, you kind of settle into a genre sometimes and stick there, I guess.
Rick, speaking of radio, I'm going to have to give you the app for the radio station that's going to carry my show that's going to start on March 18th. Have you been following that story at all?
Well, a little bit, but I've missed some episodes this week, so I wanted to get a recap from you on what because I know you were kind of trickling the information out based on when you were able to do it and whatnot. Have you told us the name of the radio station?
No, that's going to be announced, I believe, next week. So as soon as the radio station gives me the okay, then yes.
But are you telling me that it has to be an app? I can't just listen over the airwaves?
You cannot listen over the air because you and I are too far away.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not a local station, huh?
No, not at all.
But you're going to be doing the show from your dormer, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, when a change like this happens, and no offense, but you want to be like, yeah, I'm going to do everything just the same. I'm just going to add this. But I mean, let's be honest. You add a workload to a workload, and sometimes things get, reprioritized a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, the simple fact that the time change is that's different. That's exactly to your point.
Yeah. So, your audience is going to be different because a lot of these people, including me, listen on the way in and whatnot.
I know.
So, some of them have that same freedom and flexibility. And what do you say, the 10 o'clock hour you're planning on starting?
I plan on starting at 10.
So, in my mind, do you remember when, I don't know if you were ever listening to like Opie and Anthony, but they would do I can't remember exactly the details, but they had like the radio show and then the podcast. And in between, they would walk like from building to building to set up for the next one. Isn't that right?
Kind of. They went from like terrestrial radio studios over to the Sirius studios.
So then will you do something like that? I mean, obviously you're not going to walk from room to room, but will you, when your radio show is just trickling down and winding down for the day, will you talk about, hey, join me on my podcast and, we'll continue the story about this and I'll say fuck a lot more and things like that?
I think eventually, I actually, the owners of the radio station were like, oh, you got to talk about the podcast. And I was like, well, pump the brakes a little bit. And they're like, why? I go, well, I go, the podcast is so different. And I'm going to be brand new to this radio audience. And some of the shit I say on the podcast is pretty rough. Radio is a way different animal than podcasting. And if they're starting to trust me, as doing a radio show, if they suddenly start hearing me say the word twat and shit like that, I mean, that's very jarring for people.
Or how about if you introduce Kent?
Oh, what? I'm sorry?
What about when you introduce Kent?
Kent dropped the E out of you? Well,
right.
That might even be something I eventually say on the radio because you got to figure it out in your head.
Right.
So, yeah, I think eventually I will get to that point. In fact, I like the idea of even starting the podcast as I'm finishing the radio show and then just segue right into it so that one ends and the other begins,
I think it's got to, because if you don't, and this is just my opinion, kind of like Double Fart Mike, but just my opinion, I feel like if you don't keep that momentum, it's kind of like when you were planning on doing something when you get home from work and then you sit down for a few minutes and then that thing never gets done. It's so easy to get off that momentum sometimes.
Absolutely. And when you're talking into a mic, it doesn't matter if you're talking to 50 people online or talking on a New York radio station, as long as there's that urgency of your live, you stay at a heightened level of alertness. And the second you let your guard down, okay, now I can relax. I know that's how it is for me. So we are speaking the same language regarding that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I'm skeptical. You know what I mean? And I hope that you are able to kind of find the formula where the radio show will have its own success and the podcast won't be completely forgotten and that'll still continue to have success. You're adding, more than a 4-hour workday to what you're already doing. So that's a lot. I don't know if I could add 4 hours of a new venture to what I do every day. My day's pretty full.
Yeah, I know. That's no doubt something that comes to mind. I think part of it is the radio show. I'm talking for small amounts of time, and then you're playing music. So there's time there where I can prepare for the podcast. You know what I mean?
And that lessens your need to drive content or create content rather.
Right. I have it all. I have prepared it in my brain from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So the second 10 a.m. starts, I've already got it done. All I have to do is say what I had planned on saying. And I still plan now, but this will give me even more time to percolate on it. The hardest thing is the hours. I have to get up very early. That's the hardest thing.
But that's ingrained in you, right? You did that for a long, long time. You got to kind of rewaken that one up.
Yep. It should be fine, and I should be done with my day at about the same time. And then I plan during the spring, summer, fall to go paint parking lots with Tim over at Shoreliners.
Why?
I don't know. I just like money. I want to make money.
Okay. I think we're all motivated to a degree in that realm, but I mean, I'm not going to ask you what you're getting paid by this radio gig, but if you were getting by doing what you were doing with Patreon and the sponsors for regular podcasts, and now you're adding a legitimate time income, do you really need the money?
Well, here's the thing. I'm at a spot where I've had to dip into my savings to pay for my daughter's education, and it's a lot. So I want to kind of earn as much as I can to make that to make myself whole, because that was money I was planning on living on when I got old. So sure. At least for a little bit, I want to see how I do, at least for a summer. But who knows? That could change if I suddenly burn out. I don't think I will, though. It's better to burn out than to fade away, Rick.
I think it's exciting as far as the opportunity goes, because obviously, we're all. Yeah, we all pay attention to, what people say and do. We don't always agree with it or whatever, but the loudest complainers are the people that don't like you. And obviously you get some support here and there too, but the loudest people are the ones that complain about it. But someone coming to you and offering you a job, in your own realm, in the industry, I think that's a good justification for you. You can be like, you know what? Fuck all you people. I am not dried up. I can drive more content than just talking about Free Beer's hair. I still have.
That's great. That's fantastic. I love the hair, though. It's definitely worth a conversation every so often.
It's funny. My wife said to me something, or said to me the other day about she was listening to something that happened on the Free Beer and Hot Wings show, and I'm like, you still listen to that? And I used to be a pretty big listener to that every day, and I can't. Like if I'm not listening to XM or whatever, or Lithium or whatever I'm listening to, and I'm looking for something to listen to, I will listen to anything but that. And I just I don't know those guys on a personal level, but what I know about them, I just feel dirty with it. Fuck, I can't do it.
That I don't mind so much the dirty part. I mean, to me, it's like whatever. The biggest thing that I gather is I just find myself, it's hard to pay attention to what they're doing because it's just not that interesting to me. And you take away, oh yeah, Easy's always pissed and he hates them. Well, no, it doesn't really have to do with that. It has to do with the fact that there was a time when it was the neatest fucking thing in the world, and somewhere down the road, that stopped, and they don't really lift a finger to actually do anything, and I think that they're doing the bare minimum. But at the end of the day, they seem to be pretty happy and enjoying themselves. So I guess maybe there's that in my face, I guess.
No, I mean, I don't blame you at all for having an opinion or even talking about it, because I mean, you were there in the beginning. You were there when all three of you guys were, talking about how, someday we're trying to hit it big. And then you did, and then, you didn't ride off into the sunset. There was several more seasons of that show that we had to get through, and there was some drama that had to go along with it. But I mean, someone that was there from the very beginning that helped them, maybe drove very crucial parts of that success. I'd have an opinion too, and I would fucking talk about it. There's no doubt about it, especially with what happened to the relationship later on.
I will say this, and I've talked about this openly. For 2 years prior to getting fired, no one really cared. We would, we were going through the motions, get in there, didn't have anything planned. We weren't doing any of those fun bits. We stopped doing all the fun adventures, like sending Joe to the Lindsay Lohan thing and the royal wedding, and we had the running of the bulls. Those were all high points, that we had planned, and we would because of the time change, we were so committed to those segments, especially in England. We would come back to the radio station in the middle of the afternoon to record Joe's adventures in England, and then we would edit it all up at night, and then come back to the radio station early, and then play them play the audio. You know, it was all those extra steps that we would do that we kind of got out of that. And we didn't really care because we were getting fat and making money.
Sure.
But who can blame them? You know, that happens to a lot of people. But I've been quick to point that out because I was part of that type of attitude. You know, I don't want to be the one to say, oh, yeah, I left and they went to shit. That's not true at all. The show went to shit prior to me leaving. I was part of the shit.
I would, if it was an 80s TV movie, you know, in the last 15 minutes, you guys get back together. You talk about the fights that you had. You kind of discuss the past and talk about how fun it was coming up and shit, and then you ride off.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
That would be cool, but I personally don't like Greg. Like, there's so much. I've established so much of a rapport with a group of people who also don't like Greg. If I were to ever have a conversation with Greg, I'd look like the biggest goddamn phony ever because there's a litany of boring reasons why I actually just don't like the guy.
Well, most of the way that he's acted and treated you, right?
Absolutely. It all comes to that.
Okay. So hypothetically, what if he came to you and said, you know what, Eric? You know what? I was kind of a dickhead to you. Yes, you were a dickhead. That was kind of your shtick. You were known and expected to be a dickhead. But on the personal side of things, I was kind of a dickhead to you, and I apologize for that. What would you do if that happened?
I would instantly forgive him.
Would you tell him that you have to punch him in the stomach and then you can move forward?
Well, I wouldn't do that. I would be very appreciative of that moment, and I would reciprocate. I'm not that type to, like, you know, just never ever acknowledge anybody's a vulnerable moment like that. I would absolutely. That would be a wonderful, wonderful thing if that happened. But until then, I'm still going to make fun of his stupid fucking hair.
Sure. Now, okay, so you know these guys. You lived with them. You traveled with them. You moved with them. You made huge life-changing decisions with them over the years. Do you think that when him and Hot Wings are together and they're discussing things, and obviously you're on their radar because you do the, you know, who are these free beers and shit like that. So, you know, they have to roll their eyes about your content or what you say online and shit. So you come up as a talking point, I'm sure. Do you think that they ever think, you know what, we waited too long to get rid of him. We should have got rid of him years before? Or do you think that there's a part of them that realizes that, you know what, he helped us build this and he's entitled to an opinion? Where do you think that opinion lies?
The first one.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think that they would acknowledge what we build, but they're probably very, very upset at the direction of the things I do now. So, and that stands to reason.
Sure.
I mean, I know I would be. So, yeah, I think probably the first one.
Do you think that if you weren't involved at all, if you guys never linked up together, would they be where they are now? Or do you think that they acknowledge that you were part of that success?
It's embarrassing to talk about because it sounds ridiculous. But if we didn't go the direction that we did and do the things that we did together, and which a lot of that came from ideas that I stole from other radio shows, they would have never have approached things the way they did. So yes, in a lot of ways, I do take credit for that.
I think you should,
and I feel very good about it. But at the same time, they reciprocated, and we built it all together, and it was great. But then there came a time when things got ugly, and they've forgotten all of that. So they don't believe any of that. I can guarantee you.
Sure. It's interesting. You know, the evolution that we go through in this life, it's interesting, you know, the turns that you take, and, you know, people that you work with now might not be the people you work with later on. It's just interesting to think about.
You're damn right. I appreciate your questions. I thought those were all very good. I thought it was interesting what you just did there. You kind of pulled off an interview. Well done.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'll say that anybody who interviews me, that's worth talking about. You know me.
Well, who's your favorite person again?
I don't know. What did I forget? You? Oh yeah, I get where you're going. Okay. Sometimes I miss the cues. Okay. So what's going on? Axe throwing ready to go this weekend?
Not quite. We are going to be playing paintball outside this weekend, though. we're finally succumbing to what Michigan is allowing us to do, is get out on the outdoor fields, get those ready to go. So that's exciting. It feels like spring is here, even if Michigan does the old dipsy-do over the next couple of weeks and gives us another winter storm or something, because that's coming.
Schedule at tcpaintballgr.com. In closing, I had a conversation with you at the Paintball War. Paintball War number 23, the battle for the Rio Grande.
A good time. We had a good time.
Do you remember, if you can go back and search what I talked to you about, you will realize that I gave you a geographic clue as to where my radio show is going to be heard and originating from.
You did?
I did. I asked you a question. You were the first person I said I had a question about something, and we had a conversation, and I was asking for a specific reason, which you don't know of. But in that talk, we talked about something on a geographical level.
Was it when we were standing there talking to Tyler and the Kuiper brothers?
I don't recall. What was the topic?
I mean, we just stood and bullshitted for a few minutes.
Okay.
And
I came up and asked you a direct question about something.
And it was just you and I, huh?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch, I don't remember it. I have a little bit of stress because of the pizza situation. I was hoping that you were going to get back in a timely manner, and I wasn't going to have to sing and dance.
No, it was good. I asked you something, and I'll explain it when the time is right. But until then, you have to think about some of the things we talked about. You can figure it out for yourself.
I'm disappointed in myself because a lot of times I'll pick up on things like that, and you slid one by me and tested me, and I failed that test. Man, that bums me out.
Yeah, but I wasn't going into it with hey, I'm going to give Rick a morsel, a nugget, if you will. I was just
that was before anybody knew anything, right?
Okay, so I found the event was on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I had been informed of the deal on Friday before that, and the deal was done on Saturday. And you were the first person I ever said anything to.
Right. So, okay. So it wasn't talked about. It wasn't alluded to. So I didn't really have a reason to think there was something that was going to happen.
No. Context-wise, there was nothing there.
Okay.
So don't beat yourself up over it.
It bums me out, though. I want to know. I want to go back and maybe if I go back and look at my security cameras, I'll see you standing there talking, and it'll jog my memory somehow.
Excellent. Okay. It was great. It's a great conversation as always. Have a busy, fun weekend, and my best to you and yours.
Hey, 4/21 is the next available Sunday evening that I thought we could schedule Paintball War number 24. I don't know if that works with you or not, and you don't have to tell me now.
Yeah.
But that's the one on my radar, so maybe just get back to me about it.
Okay, I will get back to you.
Sounds good. 4/21.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
There you go. Rick from TC Paintball. Ben writes, are you not on where free beer and hot wings are on because you're in a bigger market? I don't get what you're asking me. Can you maybe clean that up a little bit? Tyler says, my probably wrong guess. Hey, there's another TC Paintball in Lansing. What are the people in the Lansing area like? Like something like that? Rick says, is free beer and hot wings in the same market that you're going to? No. I want to follow up with more on that. But I got to leave something to the imagination on this deal, Are you not on where free beer and hot wings are on because you're in a bigger market like New York? Wait a minute. Are you asking me if I'm in New York or going to be on in New York? Come on now. No. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but you seem slightly retarded in the asking of that question. I still don't even know what the fuck you want me to answer. Linda says, free beer and hot wings appeal to the lowest common denominator. Now, the Zaniacs probably listen to them. No, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree that they appeal to the lowest common denominator. It's a very saccharine, safe type of bit of content. To me, lowest common denominator is just all like fucking sexy guy talk. You know? No, they're just, it's just extremely uninspired and boring. And they work very hard to make it seem like it's fantastic. And it's not. Ben says, you either slipped up and said New York or were referring to Opie and Anthony. No, I was referring to Opie and Anthony. Tyler says, Huge would ask Eric how much he's getting paid. That's so true. Bill is so into how much money I make. It's like, what are you doing? He thinks I don't make any money. He thinks that people take advantage of me. I will say that several of you have gotten it correct. Tim Kuiper's got it correct. Linda and Maureen got it correct. Well, I actually told them. Excuse me. I forget who else got it right. It might have been Chris K. I got to guess. Somebody said Tennessee. Incorrect. Someone said Detroit. No. I can't remember if Monday the cat is out of the bag or next Monday. Joe Spaulding texts me. He says that was hilarious. He's referring to his Trump call. Speaking of politics, I heard from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. I'll get to that in just a second. He was in the news. He froze up last year a couple times, just standing there. His brain just went on lockdown. That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen when I saw that. Well, we're going to hear from him in a second. Hire me on Cameo, cameo.com/Eric Zane. My cameos are fun. They're just $20, and they're the best. King's Room Barbershop. I'm getting a haircut today. Why, you ask? Well, let me show you. So typically every day, I put no product. I have product in my hair to put it down and put it to the side. I have my pomade. Well, that does a great job of putting it the way I want it to be. But sometimes it just gets too belligerently long. So, look, okay, it doesn't look as bad as it did when I started the show. But it's going straight up in the air like fucking heat miser. It's so damn long. So, Andy over at King's Room. In fact, I'm just going to leave the hat off because it looks so ridiculous. Is doing a number on it today. I'll be at the King's Room in Wyoming at 821 36th Street. They have 3 locations. The Wyoming one, the Caledonia one, and the Northland Drive. Damn it. Ryan says, I think that hair is mega sexy. Stevie says, Billy Idol. Rick says, it's hard to follow political talk, but I'm glad we were able to change lanes and talk about something fun. Linda says, nope, I guessed it and you confirmed. Oh. Concerning free beer and hot wings, Ben said they appeal to housewives and dumb dudes that like Ted Lasso. Rick says hair reminds him of something about Mary. Rebecca says Silver Fox. If I go to King's Room and ask for the Zane, will they know what to do? No. We haven't gotten that far. Anyway, go to King's Room. Their website is kingsroom.net. Haircuts are $19. If you go to Jude's, Lady Jane's, Sport Clips, Zach's, or anywhere else, try King's Room Barbershop just once. We've got basketball this weekend. Grand Rapids Gold in action. Get your tickets at grandrapidsgold.com. Sunday, 5 p.m., Van Andel Arena. I want to see you there. Come see me. Come see the gold. You will love the games. You'll love the action and intensity of G League basketball in Grand Rapids. The Grand Rapids Gold, the G League affiliate to the world champion Denver Nuggets. GrandRapidsGold.com for tickets. Impact Power Sports invites you to go to their website, ImpactPowerSportsMI.com. Check them out. Some of the fun things you can buy. ATVs, electric bikes, four-wheelers, three-wheelers, motorcycles, you name it. Yamaha Golf Carts, Michigan's newest Yamaha golf cart dealer, is Impact Power Sports in Rockford, Michigan. They're along 14 Mile Road. Go see Drew and the crew over there, Kathy Mason, Ron, the Godfather, as Bill likes to call him. And check out the selection, or just go online and see what they have to offer. ImpactPowerSportsMI.com, with a full-service department, too, to make sure your toys are in good running order at Impact Power Sports. I understand that Bill made a comment the other day about Impact Power Sports that Ben Glaze sent my way because they advertise on the Huge Show. And Bill was doing a commercial for Impact. This is what he said.
At Impact Power Sports, they also have e-bikes, quads, side-by-side, yard toys for the big boys and the big girls. At Impact Power...
And that made Ben laugh. The fact that, the big boys and the big girls.
Power Sports, they also have e-bikes, quads, side-by-side, yard toys for the big boys and the big girls.
All right. Thank you, Ben. ImpactPowerSportsMI.com. Okay, I got to go get some water and go tinkle and fix my hair. I'll be back with more. Show's not quite done yet. After this. All right. Cow fade. Trump with a great president. Oh, my God. It's either incredibly ballsy or just dumb. Can't figure out. I feel like I'm running out of gas here. My throat is starting to hurt me. Mitch McConnell wraps up his career. He's stepping down as leader of the Senate. I think he's still a senator, right? That doesn't mean he's not a senator anymore. Audio check, video check. Here we go.
Tonight, in a stunning shift for Republicans, the most consequential and controversial Senate leader in modern history announcing he's stepping down.
It's time for the next generation of leadership.
Top Senate Republican Mitch...
They're like hoping, don't freeze up. Don't do another freeze job.
McConnell says he'll give up his leadership position in November after an unprecedented 18 years atop the GOP and retire at the end of his term in 2027. At times, emotional.
I love the Senate. It's been my life.
It comes after the 82-year-old recently suffered two freezing episodes in public where he was unable to speak. And he's also...
Oh, God, that was so bad.
Faced growing criticism from fellow Republicans who, unlike McConnell, have embraced Republican frontrunner Donald Trump. McConnell served with 7 presidents, becoming a frequent foil for Barack Obama, whose appointment of Merrick Garland for a Supreme Court seat he single-handedly blocked, clearing the way for Trump to appoint Neil Gorsuch, part of a conservative reshaping of the courts, which became his proudest achievement. Later, falling out with Mr. Trump over January 6th, but voting to acquit in his impeachment trial.
President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
So why didn't you vote to impeach him then? I don't understand that.
The former president has taunted McConnell as a broken-down hack politician.
I don't know that I can work with him.
And mocked his wife, a Trump administration cabinet secretary, as crazy and with racist language. President Biden paying tribute to McConnell.
I wish we could have heard that racist language.
McConnell today.
Thanks for watching.
Biden doesn't even know who he is. Come on now. Those freezing episodes, they were just so strange.
Big Fraud Zane.
I got this message in my voicemail on the overnight.
This is your pal, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. I thought I'd take you up on that offer last summer. You mentioned wanting to go camping with me in your place. Well, in northern Michigan, I'm stepping down after my term's over as our Senate Minority Leader. I never thought, when I was 42 in 1984, I stepped into the Senate, and it's just amazing, big fraud.
It just ends. What's up with that whistle to start?
Big Fraud Zane. This is your pal, Senate Minority Leader.
Okay. Kenny writes, he sounds like when you try to play a record backwards, looking for the satanic hidden messages. The whistle is the best part. Too friggin' funny, says Becky Karsten. Solid Poncho writes, is he part teapot? Tyler says, somebody upload the stepping down speech to the Mitch bot. And for the love of God, make sure he's fully charged this time. Chris says he's probably still on the line and just froze up. Wow. Unbelievable. Well, good for him. He should step down. So do you remember that moon lander, that weird anticlimactic landing on the moon? And we didn't see any footage, which was such a letdown. I thought for sure we were going to see the actual lander landing on the moon from the perspective of the lander like they did for the Mars deal, but they didn't. It was really anticlimactic last week when it landed, but I hadn't heard about this. I did a little bit, but not really sure. I guess it had tipped over upon landing, and that's not good. And now it's stopped working. Headline reads, the Odysseus lasted longer than anticipated after it ended up on its side with hobbled solar power and communications, but it was able to transmit for a week. Excuse me. This image right here, so I'll share with you. This is what I was looking for. This is the image I was looking for. That's the sun landing on the moon. And then I think over here in the lower right, that's a crescent Earth, a portion of a crescent Earth, as is this here. It looks like the pictures are almost like superimposed upon each other. Definitely over here on the side is a crescent Earth, is the way it was described to me. Or at least the way it was actually described. But the damn thing fell over. I guess when they were landing it, one of the legs was on like a rock or something like that. And that was it. As Reverend Rowdy Ron checks in for the first time in a while, he says, good morning. What are you talking about? Talking about the moon landing, Ron. It's been too long. Tyler says you can really see the flatness of the earth from that angle. I'm glad you say all this because there is a football player who's in the news from Texas Tech. and he's a defensive back. And the Lions may end up drafting this guy if they're lucky because he's that good. But why am I talking about him after I talk about, after Tyler makes that comment about flat earth? Excuse me. This was sent to me, and just by reading the headline, the Texas Tech defensive back Tyler Owens, I thought, well, this is a great reason to draft him. He doesn't like space, or he doesn't believe in space. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's definitely something that you want to hear a defensive back say, and the guy who's going to cover the offense's receivers. You want him to say, I don't believe in space, because he's on top of the guy. But that's not what he's saying at all. Texas Tech of Tyler Owens of Texas Tech, formerly of Texas Tech, they're at the draft combine, and this is where the players, they run, they jump, they see how athletic they are, and they also talk to them. And if you're a retard, your draft stock falls. Well, unfortunately, Tyler Owens is a retard. And he is saying that he actually doesn't believe in space, like go to the moon space. He believes that it's our planet, and that's it. There's nothing else that exists. We are the only ones. I am not making this up. Here's the interview with him. You can actually hear his draft stock falling when this idiot starts talking.
You're discussing that you don't believe in.
Nah, I don't believe in space. I'm like, I'm real religious, so I think like we're in the wrong right now. I don't think there's like other planets and other stuff like that. I don't know.
What led you to that point to believe that?
Well, like I thought you should believe in like the heliocentric thing, like he's some raw around the sun and stuff. But then like I started seeing like flat Earth stuff, and I'm like, it was just kind of interesting. And then they started bringing up valid points. So I mean, I don't know. Could be real. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not. It's not real.
Awesome, man. You guys are this
awesome, man. Yeah, good job, man. My God. Okay. So that dude says in front of people that he does not believe in space. Excuse me. I thought I used to believe in the heliocentric thing where we used to revolve around the sun and stuff. But then I started seeing flat earth stuff, and I was like, this is kind of interesting. They started bringing up valid points. So, I mean, I don't know. Could be real. Couldn't it be? No, it can't be. In making their decisions to draft him, NFL teams will have to let his talent eclipse his unconventional beliefs. Now, can you imagine if Dan Campbell drafted this guy? If Dan Campbell did draft him, he would be like, all right, no one ever wants to hear you talking about this crazy shit. All right? He has just put a scarlet letter on him for stupidity. Because very often now, it's what's going on between the ears that's going to get you drafted. If you're an exceptional talent, but clearly a dumb fuck like this guy, you've cost yourself money. He, with this comment that he doesn't believe in space, has cost himself millions of dollars. And good. It should be that way. We shouldn't let dumb fucks have a lot of money. I don't believe in space. I'm real religious, so I think we're alone right now. I don't think there's other planets and other stuff like that. Said Tyler Owens, former Texas Tech defensive back. What a dumb fuck. That is so embarrassing. You fucking moron. CJNMI says if Trump said the world was flat or there was no space, the MAGA folks would fall in line. Oh, let's hope he does that. I would love to see people like Nate Bull say, yeah, the earth is flat. Tofus is really annoyed. He says, hey, fucker, what valid points? I want to hear some of these facts. What are your valid points? Because someone said it and you heard it? Kenny says, might as well be saying, I don't believe in air. Tyler says Texas Tech admins are face palming because this asshole went to their school and is broadcasting how dumb he is. So true. What an idiot. Stand by. My God. Thank you to Rick at TC Paintball for joining us today. TCPaintballGR.com. I'm running out of gas, so I'm going to go through these fast. Support the Green Medicine Shop. That's where I want you to get your cannabis in Greenville, Michigan. TheGreenMedicineShop.com. Thank you so much. Get your cannabis there. Tag Accounting. Get your taxes done from the Tax Hobbit at Tag Accounting. Online at tagcpa.net. Tech support provided by Blue Frost IT. And go to my Vouch store to buy great products. Vouch.store/Eric Zane. Your asshole of the day today. Yesterday it was Braden the Pussy. That would be Bleeding Heart Braden, who just went away. What an asshole. All right. Today's asshole of the day is Amanda for proclaiming her love for Trump and saying he was a great president. That is your asshole of the day today. That is my time. I'll talk to you on the Patreon. Thank you for being here. Talk to you down the road, and bye-bye.